What's good, YouTube? I just want to make a short video hyping you up. So, I'm going on 30. It makes me feel really old. I know 30's not old, but it feels old. Yesterday, my grandma died. My last grandparent. I don't have a very large family, so losing anybody sucks. Losing anybody sucks in general. But, you know, when your circle's tight, you feel it. And I have a long history with mental illness. I was on meds at 7. First, you know, in hospital stay about 13. Another one at 16. And that was a wilderness therapy situation. And if you've been on the internet at all for like the last 5 years, you probably have heard some horror stories about those places. I was very lucky to be at one that, well, no one in my immediate group died, but people got hurt. I got hurt. Wasn't given medical attention, etc., etc. Nasty place. I've got ADHD, slow cognitive tempo, bipolar depressive, anxiety, you know, I got it. And the crappy part about having 23 years of working on your mental health is that ultimately you get hit with a realization. And it's a realization that I don't think they often tell people enough in therapy. I've seen a lot of therapists over the years. I've seen a lot of different therapists. Most of them have been really good. Some of them, not so good. It requires you, the individual, to do the work in order to, I'll say, subdue the symptoms of mental illness. Some of them, I'm adopted, and I've got a nasty family history when it comes to mental illness. You know, some schizophrenia type stuff, and ultimately, somewhere along the line, I realized, like, hey, you know, I mentioned my official diagnosis. That's where I'm leaving it. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with for anyone. But I got a job a couple years ago. Very happy for that. Very appreciative of that. I love the job, and I really love my coworkers. Starting the job, however, it was the first time after finally getting an official diagnosis I had to go see a neuropsychologist. So I'd been on medication for bipolar 1, which, if you don't know the difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, they have a lot of similarities. However, bipolar 1 has the distinct categorization of having what's called manic episodes. Manic episodes can manifest in a lot of different ways. And I'll say at the top, I'm not a psychologist. My understanding and knowledge base, honestly, is mostly based on experience. There's not a whole lot that hasn't at least been on my Google search, you know, when it comes to trying to understand what's going on. Hey, don't eat that. Don't eat that. Sorry, that's my puppy. My puppy here. But I digress. The crappy part is you have to put in the work, and they really don't do a great job in a modern world, at least in my experience of therapy. They really don't do a good job of helping you understand the responsibilities you have to yourself at that point. Now, I realize that everyone's circumstances are different, so this is just my personal experience for the most part. I have to do daily work up top, upstairs, in the brain, to kind of keep on top of things. You know, my inner self really likes to call me mean names and all kinds of stuff. Tell me I'm not worth anything, etc., etc. But if you have those thoughts, same as I do, I'm here to tell you, number one, we don't have to believe them. And regardless of anything and everything you've got going on, with a couple of exceptions, I suppose, just 'cause people can be crazy, which isn't a fair thing to say. I'm talking like people that do evil. And again, off track a little, but I love you. You exist in this world. Your existence in this world is legitimizing enough to me to be completely valued and worth the self-effort, like the self-talk that has to come with pumping yourself up and kind of talking yourself up, talking yourself down off the ledge, whatever you gotta do, talking to yourself wise. I hope that's not discouraging, because when I first really came to that realization that, like, not only you gotta do the regular work that everyone else does, you know, you gotta go work your 40 hours plus nowadays. I work 2 jobs. You gotta make it happen. And on top of that, you get another few hours every day that you have to do a bunch of additional stuff just to not hate yourself. If that sounds at all like you, I feel it, I get it, and just know that I'm giving you the biggest of bear hugs. But why am I saying all this on a rower? Well, that job I mentioned, I blew up like a balloon. I went from about the size I am now, which is 280 pounds, which is still overweight. Even with my Scottish-Irish muscle mass genetics. Short kings, where you at? But I got up to about 345 pounds. So don't ask me to do that math, but I think that's like 65 pounds so far. And it's the discipline of it. And I hate that damn word, because even after all my years, when I hear that word, I still feel like a 5-year-old kid, you know, getting consequences, you know, getting grounded or something. I don't do physical activity perfectly. I mean, you can hear me panting under these powerful lights in my basement. You're probably seeing the sweat. It's still a work in progress. But I just want to really give you a shot of hope that you can do this. I don't even have the worst of circumstances out there. I've been through plenty of stuff, plenty of shit. You know, but ultimately, for every wrong that was done to me, every mistake I made, every positive decision and negative decision, the way we interpret and look at things at any moment in time is completely controlled by, I say completely controlled. I completely understand the inescapable pit that is depression. Like I said, bipolar 2 here. I get those depressive episodes, I get it. I can tell you right now, I'm in the middle of one. And here I am, on this rowing machine, sweating my ass off. I still call myself stupid sometimes. Not that it's okay, but, you know, I call myself nasty things. And over time, I've gotten better and better and being able to interject my own conscious thought into those moments and be like, hey man, yeah, you might feel like that. This is me talking to myself, Tyler. Tyler, self, you might feel like X, Y, and Z right now, but I want you to remember A, B, and C. And, I remind myself about the good things about me, the people that matter to me in my life, my beautiful family, my beautiful friends, TTRPGs, woohoo! All these things are some of my little silver linings. I didn't always have family. I didn't always have friends. Hell, I only started DMing a year ago. Only started being introduced to Dungeons and Dragons outside of references to it about 2.5 years ago. So it's all about the ups and downs. And one of the ways that I combat my downs is by continuing to work on my physical body. You don't have to do what I'm doing now. Trust me, 6 months ago, I don't know how long I've been yapping, but I couldn't have done this. I couldn't walk half a mile without getting almost shin split. So allow yourself to start small. Honestly, before I even took a step outside, I spent 2 months not doing any changes, except any time I would make the decision to go get fast food or something, I just forced myself to get a diet drink. I didn't like it. I missed my freaking full-bodied Dr. Pepper. I'm from the South, so I missed my Big Red. But after those 2 months of doing that, without doing anything differently, and this is still, ordering DoorDash to the apartment, but I lost 10 pounds. And I felt good. It felt good. You are allowed to start as infinitesimally small as you need to. I can tell you right now, despite me talking all this good stuff about what I'm doing now, my apartment still looks like a depression den. My car is dirty. My savings is negligible. I'm still an hourly worker. So, this is that. Oh, excuse me. And I just had dinner not too long ago. Ugh. Oh, sorry, that was gross. That was really gross. It still tastes gross, to be honest. But I'm just being silly. But I just want you to know that any change that you attempt to make for your life, regardless of how small you might think it is a stepping stone. It's a building block for you to keep doing something. And again, it doesn't matter how infinitesimally small these steps are. I explained to you my step in the beginning. But it's the art and the act of acknowledging that you're still taking those steps and that you're doing those infinitesimally small things that lets you go on to, a small thing, a medium thing. It lets you go from being able to hardly walk up 3 flights of stairs, to sit on a rowing machine, for however long this is. Nobody has to, approve it, your plan. Nobody has to, monitor it. It's truly about what goes on in between your ears. And I just want you to know that whoever you are, whatever the change is that you want to make in your life, I believe that you can do it. I love you, regardless of who you are. I validate your emotions, your successes, your pains, your strikes, your struggles, you know, the good, the bad, the uglies. Every bit of it. There's a word, it's funny enough, it's a newer word. The word is called sonder. And I think about that word a lot. I can become obsessive or overly analytical of my own life, my own existence, etc., etc. But when I think of sonder and what it means, by definition, I couldn't give you a word for word, right? But it's the idea that for as complex as your life is, my life is, as messy and jumbled as the perhaps lemony snicket kind of a series of events that plays out, that regardless of it, that every person in the world goes through the same thing. Their lives are just as complicated. And for me, the big thing that makes me feel is not being alone. Almost 30, pretty hopelessly single, chronically single. Mostly by choice, but also because, hell, I weighed 350 pounds. You know, you had to roll me to a date. So it's also not all about the numbers or the weight. If it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to you. It's just one of those things that it happened to matter to me. And it helps me on my shitty and anxious days. If anything, it's not like it's a working out, a miracle cure. Some people try to make it out to be this, oh my god, it's like freaking oh shoot, what's that Bradley Cooper movie? It's like the Limitless Strong. All you gotta do is hit the bench press, or hit this Pilates studio, or, you know, if you downward dog facing the east with a silver spoon in your left hand, a chunk of amethyst up your ass, and I don't know, whatever weird combination. It just isn't like that. For me, I've seen most of the success. I don't work out that frequently, really on the shittiest of days. Most of my weight loss has been from dieting, which is another bitch and a half. But again, I took small steps. This has been years in the making. For me, it helps me sleep. I'll do this, and then later this evening, I'll actually just feel tired. And if I get good sleep, everything else just kind of starts falling into place just a little bit easier. It's like that, maybe a weird key of phrase here, but like mental lube. It just feels like it keeps things running a little more smoothly. But again, this video really isn't, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to be an example of a kid that should have died from his unalive attempt at 16, the struggles that I went through since then, and some of the things that helped me, because more than anything, like I said, regardless of who you are and my love for you, I want you to succeed in whatever measure that is for you. For me, is outwardly looking in. Right now, my life kind of looks a little normal. And considering I couldn't keep a job for 8 years because of all kinds of stuff, mental illness, improper medication, etc., it was kind of crazy. But I just want to give you that mental fist bump, that in your head high five of, you can do this. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It's not. But I can tell you one thing, is that, if you allow yourself to go on this journey, it starts with the first step, whatever that step is. Whew. And I believe in you, and I think you're cool. I hope you have a good one. I'm sweating. This was only like 20 minutes of exercise, but that's all it takes. Probably a lot of, those are bad. Yeah, you see plenty of back sweat. So, we're all works in progress, but I appreciate your work, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.